Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we turn to talking about an actress and model named Chrissy Teigen. Yes, Chrissy Teigen is famous for hosting a couple TV shows, being a stunning, very beautiful girl. She does modeling and all kinds of stuff like that. She's like famous for being famous. She's not really much of an actor, but she got a couple hosting gigs because she's cute, and she also has a pretty funny sense of humor sometimes. But on top of that, Chrissy has in recent years, been suffering really badly from Trump derangement syndrome. Now, that's not what caused today's story. What caused today's story was she had some very controversial tweets in her past, which caused her to not only delete about 60,000 tweets, but she also disabled her Twitter account for an amount of time last night. Now, I think it's back up, but it's protected now. It's like privated, and you can only follow her if you're an approved follower. So she's basically trying to hide something. She's been getting into trouble, having issues with her Twitter. She said a lot of controversial things over the years, and it's just funny to see her kind of struggling right now. I'm not trying to bask in her failure here, but in a way we are. I mean, she's a very negative person. Like I said, she's hated on Trump for years. She's gotten really, really crass in the public too. Like, she's a very vulgar person. She's always like cursing and saying really mean things on the Twitter. And not to say that like, oh, I'm triggered, I'm hurt. I'm just trying to give you an idea who this is. She says a lot of gross, terrible things, and she's always cursing, and she's always referencing really weird stuff. And that's what's gotten her into trouble recently. We're going to go over some of that, talk about her story, how she deleted her Twitter and removed a lot of tweets and then brought it back. We're going to go over all that today and more. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. Recently, the Supreme Court has decided to not look at big Second Amendment cases, saying they won't hear appeals to several cases involving weapon laws. This has caused a blow to Second Amendment activists, and to combat this and to show our support for weapon owners, Beyond Patriots is doing a giveaway of their popular Second Amendment coin. Normally, these coins would retail for about $40, but now Beyond Patriots is giving these gold coins away for free just for this occasion. All you have to do is pay for shipping, which is an awesome deal for a really good quality collector item. And you'll be supporting our Second Amendment rights, which is really important, more important now than ever. So make sure you guys check out that exclusive link below. Get yourself a free coin today, only pay for shipping. And now let's get back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's talk more about Chrissy Teigen. Here is a search of her name on Google. You can see there's a couple stories going around. You can see a little bit of her bio. She's a 34-year-old model slash TV personality. And, you know, she's been pretty famous since about 2010 is when she got premiered. And I've known her for a little while, too. I actually liked her in the beginning. I watched one of her shows called Lip Sync Battle, where she was like a co-host. And she was just funny and cute. Like I said before, like she kind of has a good personality sometimes, especially when she needs to, like on camera. But on top of that, behind the scenes, she's like a terrible, terrible anti-white racist, like terrible anti-Trump person. Like, she's gone on these crazy rants on Twitter all the time. So this is not very surprising if you think about it, that she's kind of sort of getting canceled. Like, people are kind of going after her because she said some messed up stuff. So here's a couple articles talking about it. And notice how there's different like theories and stuff going on. There's different takes on it. You see, first, this one says, worried for my family, Chrissy Teigen blocks 1 million Twitter accounts linking her to Jeffrey Epstein. So it's all about this Epstein stuff. We know that this is a very bad guy who got caught, you know, basically mistreating women, sometimes young girls. And yeah, he's been arrested a long time ago. He actually ended up dying in jail. Supposedly it was a suicide. Some people say, you know, this might have happened, some foul play, because he had a lot of dirt on a lot of people. And that's why it's come up again recently, because there's supposedly some Chrissy Teigen ties to Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not sure if this is a conspiracy theory that, you know, there's maybe people just trying to question it. Like, I think she might have showed up on one of his flight logs and was like on one of his planes, which wouldn't be out of the question. I mean, this is something you got to consider, that not only were a lot of celebrities on that plane and hanging out with Epstein and going to his island, but in addition, a lot of liberal people went with him. Like, it was like a lot of liberals, like high up Democrats, like, you know, Bill Clinton was on the plane a bunch of times. And so were a number of other lefties, like the Clintons and Obama might have had a connection to that, and they're all connected to each other. And so is Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen and her husband John Legend are like really political, really dialed in. They're connected to the Obamas and the Clintons too. They've supported them in campaigns and met them and done all this stuff. And we're actually going to get to more stories about that later. But first, let's talk about these articles. Like I said, this one is trying to get her sympathy. This is like her trying to say, oh, I'm worried for my family. Like she acts like she's like in trouble. Like, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm gonna get hurt. This is just classic, like playing the victim. She's trying to pretend, oh, she's threatened. She probably said she got some death threats or something. That's usually the first thing people like this say. And I think it's really not a good person to defend. Like I said, she's just a really terrible person who's said many bad things. Like there's a lot of her tweets that are getting shared around that look really questionable, to say the least. And as this article, which I think might be a little more fair, it says Chrissy Teigen blocks 1 million people on Twitter, driving conspiracy theory that links her to Epstein. She's denying unsubstantiated claims she once flew on the deceased financier's private jet. So there's rumors that she was on the jet. Let's see what this story says. It says, Chrissy Teigen conducted a massive overhaul of her Twitter account as conspiracy theorists continue to link her to the late convicted felon Jeffrey Epstein. Just last week, the model slammed Twitter trolls for alleging she once flew on the disgraced financier's private jet. The accusations, which she vehemently denies amid her own denouncing of Epstein's gal pal Ghislaine Maxwell, led to her blocking 1 million accounts on Tuesday to escape the noise. I have blockchained over 1 million people, 1 million people today, and I'm still flooded with sick psychopaths. Please spare me the just ignore them, they're just trolls, she tweeted. So she's obviously can't handle the heat. And I think, like I said before, this is something she's invited. She's made herself a celebrity. She's gone on Twitter a lot. She's expanded her account, said lots of dumb things, gone after other people, like sent her mob after other people. But once it gets turned around on them, then it's like, stop. Then she's like, oh, this is too far. You can't do that to me, guys. Teigen went on to declare she will do her best to stop entertaining them. They have definitely been living for this and have zeroed in on only me. Thank you to everyone for helping me in and out of the DMs, she added. Hours prior, Teigen admitted that the conspiracy theory that links her to Epstein led her to fear for her family's safety. She also claimed to have been called a pedophile online. Yeah, it's a bad look. I mean, she might have some kind of connection. Like, we don't have any substantiation from that yet. Like we said, this is still in flux. Like, she's denying it. Even Fox News says there's no proof, but there are a lot of questionable things in her past. So let's get to that. Let's first check out this tweet. It says, this is a screenshot. It says, if you said, eat this one bite of human and you can eat any other meat the rest of your life, or Chrissy, you can eat turkey forever. I'd eat human. So she's talking about eating human here. She said a lot of weird things on her Twitter. Like, people have a lot of screenshots of her old ones that say stuff about, like, sick things. Like, yeah, this is cannibalism. There's talk about blood and children in inappropriate ways. And it just goes to show, I mean, this doesn't prove anything, like that connection, but it is like questionable behavior. It's classic leftist behavior on Twitter too. Like, that's why I think she's really just trying to avoid getting canceled by her old tweets. And she's been on Twitter for a while, like it said, like probably 10 years. And you go back just 4 years and people used to talk a lot of trash on Twitter, even more, and used to be able to say whatever. And now that's coming back on her. And I think this is all like kind of excuse making, trying to justify that. So next I want to check out this clip because there's a lot of people talking about this Obama thing, which is her. It's a quote from her from this video. And as this tweet says, the Obama thing, and tells us why John Legend is so terrified. So basically they're asked this question and Chrissy Teigen says something and you just got to watch the reactions here.
Public place, you did it. Is this the best or the worst? What are you doing?
The best.
Okay, the best. Probably the Obama thing.
What? John! What's the? Oh God! Oh God!
John? What is your wife talking about?
I don't know.
We heard.
That looks so awkward, so uncomfortable. I'm not sure what the Obama thing is, but obviously they had sex somewhere at an Obama thing. I mean, it could have been Obama rally, or they could have went to the White House or something. Like we said, we know that they're connected with the Obamas and the Clintons and all these high profile Democrats. Like these guys are this famous power couple kind of thing. I mean, they're not that famous. Like John Legend is pretty big in music, but not like the biggest ever. Like he never was that huge. Like he just kind of was in the background. Chrissy Teigen's kind of like a B-level celebrity too. But you put two B's together and it almost makes an A, is kind of what they're going for here. And the only other thing I'll say before the rest of the video is, okay, obviously John Legend looks spooked. He looks scared. And it looks like some kind of embarrassing story that Chrissy hinted at that was probably not supposed to be brought up. But the other thing is, I just want to note, like, he is the most beta guy ever. Like, Chrissy Teigen, like, stands over him taller. He's, like, real little, like, always just, like, meek and, like, a pretty boy. He wears, like, girly clothes. John Legend's the guy who, like, wore a dress to the Academy Awards or something like that. You know, I forget what event, but he wore like a dress suit and he wears like bi-gender clothing. You know, he's like a, what we used to call back in the days, like metrosexual is what they used to call it, like the mid 2000s. And yeah, just classic John Legend, just looking like a soy boy.
We're not. Chrissy, get back in. What happened?
We're not going to discuss that.
We're not going to discuss it?
We're not. We're not.
Okay.
Oh my God. Secret Service. Come here, jump back in.
Hi.
Look at John. Look at, I don't.
Hi.
We're not talking about it. That's the truth.
That is an awesome answer.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, we're not sure where that's going, but there are more interesting screenshots below this tweet. Like we could see some other crazy stuff Chrissy has said. Like this one says, "A little boy in the pageant now, finally some eye candy for me." This is her commenting about toddlers and tiaras, like really young kids. What other tweets do we have here? Some of them are a little crass. We can't read them because she curses a lot, like a lot. But yeah, seeing little girls do the splits half naked is just, I want to put myself in jail. More like toddlers and tiaras, kind of like a weird obsession with this show with young kids. And yeah, I mean, you could just see a little taste of that. You could find more of these weird tweets of hers. Yeah, so basically, Chrissy Teigen is breaking down. She's kind of freaking out on Twitter. She's saying she's attacked. You know, she's coming up with this conspiracy theory. And, you know, we don't have proof of those connections, but the fact that she responded this way already, it just kind of says a lot. You know, it's kind of like showing, oh, she was a little worried there. Like people that act this defensive usually have something to hide or to cover up. And I think people have suspected this kind of crazy stuff from Teigen and her husband for a long time. Now, again, we're not accusing them of anything. We're just covering the story and the Twitter fallout and reasons why she's deleting it. It's still, you know, theories. It's still not proven. All we really know is that, you know, she's a terrible Trump derangement syndrome sufferer. And, you know, she's gotten a lot of heat from stuff that she said on Twitter on all sides, really. I mean, this stuff that she deleted, it was obviously something bad. Like she had so many tweets too, like 60,000 tweets. I guess that's spread out over the years, but still she deleted so many. It's like very Hillary Clinton-esque, right? Like very like, oh, she deleted the email. She bitwashed them or whatever, you know, bleach bit thing that they use to delete their information. And yeah, it's a very, very classic liberal setup. We don't know if there's any more details that are going to come out, if they're going to find any connections, but just the accusation has spooked her a lot. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Hit the like button to help us get shared. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell for notifications. And also check out our second channel, NoBS News. Links to all that stuff is below. Until next time, have a great day.